Hi, thanks for joining me today on Susan's Cozy Kitchen. Today I am making a quick, easy, open-face sandwich that I think you're going to love. A little history behind this sandwich. I learned how to make this back in college from my friend Beate, and this is something that she would make pretty frequently when I would stay with her. It's so quick and easy, but absolutely delicious. Very few ingredients, and when I say this is a quick and easy sandwich that doesn't require a lot, I really mean it. I have a package of mushrooms. I buy the white mushrooms. They're already sliced, so I don't have to worry about cleaning them. It's 8 ounces. That's ready to go. A little bit of onion. The onion is just a little bit of flavoring for the mushrooms. So I'm going to use about 1/4 of a small sweet yellow onion. All right, so I've sliced it really thin. I'm just going to give it a quick dice. Turn on my pan. And since I'm sauteing the mushrooms and onions together, I'm going to have it on a fairly high heat. It's about 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Pop that in here. The butter's in here. It's starting to melt. And I'm going to go ahead and put my onion in here. Let it get started early. Once the onion starts cooking and softening a little, it's time to add the mushrooms. And again, since these are already pre-cleaned and sliced, all I have to do is dump them into the frying pan. I have some Pink Himalayan salt that I'm going to grind over the top just to give it a little saltiness, flavor the mushrooms a bit, and it helps the mushrooms to sweat out a little bit of their moisture. And we'll let these cook. I'm going to add just a touch more butter to it. Maybe another 1/2 tablespoon in there. And this is why I say it's not exactly waistline friendly. I add a lot of butter into the mushrooms. But it helps them to cook, it helps them to brown, it gives them a wonderful flavor, and when I put it on the bread, then I'll pour the butter onto the bread along with the mushrooms, and it is phenomenal. While that's cooking, I'm going to move over here and start prepping for the sandwich part. I have some dark rye bread. I prefer using a dark bread, and this is one of my favorites. So I'm going to grab 2 pieces of the bread because I'm making 2. I call them open face sandwiches, but you know, really, I guess it is. One will be for me, one's for my son. You could, if you didn't want as many mushrooms as I like, you could stretch this to 3, but you know, I use it, I make 2 sandwiches out of it, so, because I like a lot of mushroom. Right, so there's that. And then I have some Swiss and Gruyere shredded cheese. It's already been pre-shredded. This is really good with a mild white cheese like this that melts well. Gruyere, Swiss, provolone, or a combination of those 3. You could do an Italian blend if you wanted to, but Swiss, Gruyere, and provolone are my favorites for this particular sandwich. Okay, this is starting to cook really well now. Ooh, starting to almost burn there in the middle. Turn down the heat a bit. Okay, I'm going to add this last bit of butter in here. And it's time to add some basil. And I'm giving it a nice sprinkle all over the top. That was a quarter to a half teaspoon of dried basil. You could use fresh basil in this at the very end if you wanted to, but I like to go ahead and put it in about halfway through cooking my mushrooms to really flavor my mushrooms. So. All right, we'll let that cook. Okay, and just stir this up every now and then so that all of the mushrooms get a chance to be down on the bottom and to brown. I like to get them well cooked. And the last bit of butter, here's another almost tablespoon of butter, and that's going to be the last of it. Not adding any more after that. And that's almost a finishing touch on this. Once the butter is melted, the mushrooms are basically ready now. I don't want them to be overcooked. Okay, that's melted and that looks wonderful. Okay, so now I have my 2 pieces of bread in my pan, and I like to line my pan with some foil just to make cleanup a little bit easier. This can get a little messy with all the butter and cheese. And I'm going to pour. Try to get an even amount of mushrooms and butter on both pieces of bread. And it might take a little fiddling. You might need to move a few mushrooms from one side to the other. Then it's time for the cheese. And I cover it with cheese. Okay. Between the two, that was probably half a cup of cheese. Some of it ended up around on the sides, which is again why I like to use the foil, because some of it does fall off. And now into the air fryer, I'm going to turn this on to broil, and it's already starting to cook. With broil, you can just go ahead and start it immediately. Keep an eye on it because it will get hot and melt that cheese really fast. The hardest part is the waiting and keeping the cat out of the way. All right, I am calling it done at this point. Okay, take a look at that. It's melted, it's cheesy, the mushrooms are showing through, and it looks and smells absolutely incredible. Okay, to serve it, very simple. Just look for the middle of the 2 pieces of bread, and out it comes onto the plate. All that wonderful cheese. Okay, it's on the plate. Let's see how it tastes. Make sure I get a little bit of everything. Okay, so I've got the Gruyere cheese, the mushrooms, the bread, and all that wonderful butter. Absolutely delicious. If you love mushrooms and you love cheese, you're going to love this. As always, the full recipe is in the description box below with my tips, tricks, and links for social media. Please be sure and join me there. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you find out every time I upload a video to YouTube. Thanks for joining me. God bless. That's my thing. Come on, kitty, kitty, kitty.